The technology that we're going to share with you this weekend has a unique name. We call it reality bridging. Reality bridging. I'm going to make you go into a deep trance trying to figure out what that means, right? We're going to clarify it for you. But reality bridging, it's the technology of vital communication and true freedom. Because what you're going to find is, there's going to be a vitality in your communication when you start using the techniques we're going to teach you. And there's going to be a sense of absolute freedom where you can share with somebody what your real feelings are and never ever offend them. They won't have to hear you and cry and feel bad, and you won't feel so bad either. We want to make sure that communication is vital, that you're always connecting, that you feel good when you're communicating, so does the person you're communicating with, and it produces results. That's our outcome. And to be able to do that without having to worry creates an unbelievable level of freedom for people. Because how many of you, be honest, have felt feelings at times and you were upset, but you didn't share it because you didn't know how, or you didn't share it because, well, you thought, well, maybe it's really about me, or you didn't share it because you didn't want to offend somebody even though you were mad or upset. How many got that experience in the past? And when you don't share something, what happens when you just keep it inside and build it up? Yeah, it festers. Does it get better or worse? It gets a lot worse, and eventually what happens, then you blow up about something that could have been handled so much easier along the way. But then there's the other approach, which is you're looking for things on a regular basis to be able to give people feedback about. And some people develop that habit. Or you communicate in a way where basically you're communicating your feelings, like you're upset, but do you always have all the information? No. And so you're making a decision about how to feel based on false information. How many of you have ever gotten upset and later on felt a little dumb because you found out you were upset about something really shouldn't have been upset about? So one philosophy says, keep it inside. The other philosophy says, well, get it out. Well, what if you get it out and then you find out you were wrong? By the way, do we like being wrong? No. So then what would we probably do? Justify, defend? Well, yeah, I didn't know that, but if you've done that before, right? And that does not make a relationship work. Plus, that person gets upset. It's kind of like, anybody ever come up to you and say, why are you upset? And you go, I'm not upset. You go, no, yeah, you are. You go, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. Well, I'm getting upset. Okay, that also happens unless we're really clear. So what we're really going to do is we're going to start our whole basis of studying of communication to remember one thing, and write this in your notes if you would, and that is the quality of your life is directly related to the quality of your communication. The quality of your life is the quality of your communication, period. The quality of your life is the quality of your communication. Now, pretty basic idea, nothing earth-shattering, but I'm here to tell you that's your entire life comes down to this. The quality of your entire life comes down to the quality of how you communicate. With whom? No. With whom first do you think it determines how you... That's right. The quality of your life starts with the quality of how you communicate to yourself. That's where it all starts. How you feel is not based on the environment. Is it based, like how you feel? Is that determined based on, like, whether or not you have lots of money? Yes or no? I think a little mixed reaction on that one. They go, well, no, it's not. No, absolutely not. No. How's that for incongruent communication from a lot of you, right? Okay, some of you have a little mixed feelings about this, don't you? Let me ask you a question. How many of you know somebody who has tons of money and is still not happy? Interesting. How many of you know somebody who doesn't have any money at all but seems to be very happy? So does money determine your happiness, yes or no? How many know if you had lots of money, though, you'd be happy, you're different? Okay. If I had your money, I'd be happy, no problem. Give me your money and we'll try, okay? People say money can't buy happiness, don't know where to shop. Now, see, that's not going to do it, is it? It's not the money, it's how you communicate yourself about money, your lack of it, or the abundance you think you have. By the way, can people have an abundance but communicate to themselves that they're still in scarcity, yes or no? Yes. Absolutely. So money doesn't do it. Is how you feel determined by whether or not the weather is good? Yes. Oh, really? Are there people in freezing weather who are very happy? Yes or no? Are there people in hot weather that are very happy? Yes or no? Are there people that are in either one of those weathers in the opposite degree that have opposite feelings? Has that transferred you out yet? Yes. See, the weather doesn't determine it. Is it, whether you're happy or not, determined by whether or not other people say they love you? You go, yes, but it shouldn't. So you sit there and shoot all over yourself, huh? Okay. Okay. You're right, it probably shouldn't, but a lot of us connect that real directly. But I got a question for you. Somebody comes up to you and they tell you, I love you. Or they come up and they hug you, or they look at you that certain special way. Or they kiss you passionately, and you have these feelings inside. You begin to come to attention, gentlemen. Now, when all that stuff happens, my question for you is, what made all that happen? Was it really the kiss that did it? Oh, yes, sir. No, I don't think so. If that's true, kissing your dog would get you excited. It wasn't a kiss. It was the meaning you associated to that particular moment when tissue touched tissue in that unique way. That's really it, isn't it? It isn't actually... Yes! It isn't actually the event itself, is it? It is rather what we communicated to ourselves about that event. Somebody hugs you and you feel good. Do they make you feel good? Yes or no? No. What makes you feel good is you've got a set of rules inside your head that say, if somebody touches me quite like this, they look like that, sound, smell, feel like this, then I get to say, ooh. Okay. And so you say, okay, it's time to feel good, and your brain goes, and you start feeling good. All right? So the bottom line is we determine how we feel by the way we communicate to ourselves, by the meaning that we communicate about a situation. See, it's not the event that determines how we feel. It's the meaning that we associate to the event that determines how we feel. And that meaning is something we create and we communicate to ourselves. If you're upset about anything, all upsets come down to the meaning you associate to something. If you're upset about something, it's because you're thinking, well, that's because this means they don't care about me, or this means I'm no longer in control, or this means I'm not respected, or this means. All upset is based on a meaning. And how many times have you been wrong when you linked up the meaning? Anybody been wrong, yes or no? Yes, this means yes, I'll guide you through this, okay? We've all been wrong. So what we've got to really be able to do is to realize one thing, and write it in your notes. Nothing in life has any meaning except the meaning that I give it. Nothing in life has any meaning except the meaning that I give it. Nothing in life has any meaning except the meaning that I give it. You're the one that puts the label on what things mean. And the last time you were with me, I gave you a phrase when we talked about transformational vocabulary. If you recall, transformational vocabulary is the idea that we get all these pictures and sounds and feelings and sensations start to come in our body, but we don't know what it means till we put a label on it. So you get all these things and they feel uncomfortable, they feel kind of painful, and you call that humiliation. Will that intensify the feeling more than if you say, you know, I'm a little frustrated? Yes or no? You better believe it. The label we put on our experience becomes our experience. And we are the person doing the labeling. Now, granted, I'll agree that most of us are on automatic pilot. We're using a labeling and a communication process that we don't even think about consciously. And we can easily point to other people and show how they created that feeling for us. And certainly they helped us to get into state. They helped us by giving us some feedback, but we still determine the feeling. I'll give you an example. I was in Hawaii recently. I couldn't believe it. I read this article, and then I saw the thing on TV where they interviewed this guy. He was out swimming, and the shark came and bit his leg off. Yeah. You'd think he'd be fairly upset. Why would you be upset if you lost your leg? After the initial pain, why would you stay upset? Because of the meaning you'd link to that, right? What would be the meaning that would make you feel upset all the time? That's right, the meaning of loss, that you had lost something. See, almost all pain you're ever going to feel in your life, the pain that people have that makes them upset, it all starts with I call it emotional anatomy. It all starts in one place. Pain starts with, number one, I'll put it down at the bottom here, a feeling of loss. A feeling of loss. Now, can you ever really lose anything? Only if you perceive that there's a loss. Is that true? Are you following me on this now for a second? You can only feel loss if you perceive it. In other words, you have to tell yourself there's a loss. You have to communicate that you've lost something. This man was not upset. In fact, he was concerned about the shark. Yeah, you say, this guy's on drugs. No, he was sincere. Because his belief was that, number one, he was responsible, not the shark, because he was a swimmer, and he knew that in the area he was, there were sharks, and if he's thrashing around on the top, they think it's a turtle, they'll come after him. But his concern was that people were so upset about it that people were going to go out in rage and kill the sharks in that area. How's that for sorting by others instead of sorting by self? So the meaning for him was, this was a learning experience. That's what it meant to him. For other people, it mean, I'm maimed for life. With a different meaning that he communicated. If he would have said, I'm maimed for life, I'll never be the same. You know, I can never accomplish anything. A woman will never be attracted to me. I'll be a gimp for the rest of my life. If he would have linked those meanings, do you think he would have been in the same state, yes or no? No way. By the way, maybe this is temporary, right? I don't know. I don't know this guy. I'm not going to be around a long time to meet him. But I can tell you for years what I've done is interview people who are absolutely what I think are spiritual masters. What I mean by spiritual masters is not flying to the east and meeting somebody who sits and meditates. I mean somebody who doesn't have the use of their legs or their arms and lives in absolute joy and is totally loving and tries to figure out how to contribute to other people. To me, that's a spiritual master. And I'll tell you what, there's tons of them. And they're my friends now because I go to learn from them. You know what I find out? They have developed belief systems that have helped them to interpret human behavior in a way that causes them not to be upset. Because no matter what happens, they finally figured out something. If you want to succeed in life, figure out how it works and then do it that way, not the way you think it should be. See, what most of us do is we run around in life with all these rules about how life should be, about how you should be, about he should be, how doctors should be, how staff should be, how patients should be. But you know how they're going to be? How they really are. Not how you want them to be. And then every time they don't meet your criteria, rah, you communicate to yourself, it's time to be annoyed. Or maybe a more intense word. Is that true? When you have an upset of any sort, you're feeling some negative emotion, it always comes down to really you have a feeling of what? Loss. But do you ever really lose? No, you don't ever lose anything. It just changes form. Hey, nothing in the entire universe ever disappears. Nothing. Not your physical body, not rocks, not stones, nothing. Everything in the universe transforms from one form to another. You take water, you try and destroy it, let's say you boil it, what does it become? Steam. Everything in the world transforms to a higher level. It's always transforming. You got to realize you can't lose anything. You can transform things, but you can't lose anything. Now you can try and pretend you've lost something. You can be upset with somebody and they go, oh my God, I've lost their love, or they've lost mine, or I've lost respect. How do you lose respect? You can't lose something that's already inside of you. See, the problem is people are, looking for love in all the wrong places. Love is not something you have to go looking for when it's where you come from. A friend of mine said that, Michael Hadley. I thought, wow, what a great thing to remember. Love is not something you have to go looking for when it's where you come from. So you can't lose something. Everything you thought you'd lose is already inside of you. See, if you won't feel respect, it's because you aren't choosing to focus on being respected. You're not communicating to yourself you should be respected. What if I said something to you? And I said it in a way that made you feel disrespected. It made you feel disrespected, or you took what I said, managed to interpret it, represent to yourself, and communicate to yourself that my saying it in that tone of voice means I don't respect you, therefore you can't have these feelings. Does that make any sense? No. Do we do it all the time? Yes. Do we want to continue to do it? No. Okay? We want to change that. You can't ever lose anything. Now you can perceive you've lost something. By the way, do some people who've not lost a limb, not lost their eyesight, not lost anything, feel like they've lost over little stupid things, yes or no? Some people feel lost about something they never even had in the first place. Like they had this goal and it didn't happen. And then they go, shh, I lost my goal. You never had it. Or they had this expectation. Most upsets are about expectations that aren't met. Isn't that true? You expect somebody to do something. You expected yourself to do something. You expected life to do something. You expected the weather to be a certain way and it didn't happen. You go, oh, I lost out. How could you lose out on something you never had? You must have been very confused. So you can't lose. But if you want to feel bad, what you have to do is have the illusion of loss. Create the illusion of loss. That's all you have to do to feel bad. So I'll guide you on how to feel bad. Step one, feel bad. Create the illusion of loss. I want you to make sure you take notes. The next time you want to feel bad, you know what to do. Okay? Now, after the illusion of loss, what that usually does is that creates a second major emotion in the anatomy of human emotion, and that is feeling of hurt. Feel hurt. And usually what happens is people don't notice the loss thing. They notice they feel hurt. If they're sensitive. Because this stuff happens pretty fast, doesn't it? And we've forgotten it's loss. All we know is we feel hurt. Anytime somebody feels hurt, what it really is, they have a sense of loss about something. They lost out on their expectation. They lost out on what they thought they had. They think they've lost out on something else. They think they're missing out. They think something has changed. They think they're losing something. And they feel bad. They feel hurt. How many have felt hurt in a personal relationship? Great. Tell me, raise your hand and tell me, what did you feel hurt about? Give me an example. Yes, sir. You felt hurt about dishonesty, meaning you felt this person had been dishonest with you. Now, are we absolutely certain that this person was dishonest, that he felt that was dishonest? Yes or no? Is it possible this person was not dishonest, but rather he interpreted their behavior as dishonest? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. I had a conversation with my mom not long ago. I couldn't even believe it. She was like all hurt. She said, I'm really, and she went to the next level. I might as well tell you what it is. Most people, by the way, don't stay in hurt. They manage to immediately amp up into anger. Is that true? That's right, and that's the third emotion. So if you're angry, what you really are is what? Hurt, which means you really just have a sense of what? That's really it. So my mom was upset. I was like, what are you upset with me about? I mean, what did I do? She goes, well, she does flowers for seminars. And she asked me if I would contact this hotel and have the hotel like use her services. And I said I'd be willing to, but I don't think they do that. I mean, they never do it for us. Well, she talked to somebody else, and that somebody else told her that the hotel does it all the time, and they contract with somebody else, so your son must not really care about you. Now, she was also in a very stressful state. Does the state we're in just our normal life affect the way we interpret meaning? Yeah, she was stressed about a bunch of other things, so while she's in a stressful state, somebody said this to her, and she went, oh, my son, he just thinks I'm a pain in the butt. He just wants to get rid of me. He must be ashamed of my work. He must not like my flowers. She created all this wonderful stuff. Can we create all kinds of shit in our head? How many are good at creating shit in your head? Okay. All right. Good. I am too. We all are. I'm not picking on my mom, trust me. Oh boy, it's on video. Now I'm really in deep shit. She taught me everything I know. She did teach me a good deal of what I know. Gave me a great foundation for my life. Point is, though, seriously, is she's all upset, and she thought that I had lied to her. Now, first of all, when she said I had lied to her, what do you think happened to me? Like, me, honesty is one of my highest values. I'm probably too honest. I tell people everything. Right? What? Right? The fact that she questioned my honesty. How many of you, somebody questioned your honesty, and you know you're honest? I mean, that really upsets you. What do you think I got when she said that? Angry. How could you say that? And plus, I just did all these things for you. And I started remembering all the stuff I was doing for her, and I said, I have never lied to you in my life. Well, maybe when I was a little kid, but not since then. I said, what are you talking? I can't even believe that. Why was I angry? Because I felt what by her statement? And I felt hurt because I had a sense of what? Loss. And my loss was, how could we lose that connection of knowing who each other are? By my own mom. I mean, I'd do anything for her. I just got done doing this unique thing for her that, I mean, blew her out of her shorts. She didn't ever expect it. All right? Blew her out of her shorts. Interesting picture. And so, you know, what happened, though, is I realized that if I responded to her in a state of anger, will that probably work? No, it didn't work. So I realized I needed to change my state. And I asked myself a question that helped me a lot. The question I ask is, what's probably going on with her that makes her treat me this way, or treat people this way, or respond this way. Instead of, how dare she? Why? How can she treat me this way after I've done so much for her? Which would do what? Make you more what? Upset. Different question I asked, I wonder what's going on with her that's making her respond this way? I wonder what she's stressed about. And I asked her, and she told me, she apologized, and just dropped right away. I'm here to tell you a belief I want you to remember for the rest of your life, that if all you do is remember this out of the whole weekend and really remember it at the right times, it'll change the way you communicate with other human beings. And the belief is this: then in any communication with another human being where you get a response from someone, in any communication with another human being and you get a response from someone, that response is either a loving response or a cry for help. In any communication that you have with another human being, where they give you some kind of response, they respond to you in some way, and that communication is either a loving response or a cry for help. That's it. Those are the only two kinds of responses. So one more time. In any communication with another human being, and they respond to you, they communicate to you, they react to you, they respond to you, that reaction, that response, I don't care what it looks like on the outside or what it seems like, it's either a loving response or a cry for help. Which one do you think my mom was doing in this situation? Was that a loving response or a cry for help? It was a cry for help, and the help is saying, I'm feeling what? Hurt because I have a sense of what? It may not be true, but that's what I feel. And that person's a cry for help. Now, how do most people respond to a cry for help? With another cry for help. Is that true? How did I first start to respond to my mom? She's angry with me. She doesn't have a right to be angry. How could she do this to me? What's going on? I get angry back. So I respond with a cry for help. How dare you? How can you say this to me? Don't pull this crap on me. Look what I do for you. What kind of crap is this? Interesting. So when two people are yelling at each other, crying for help back and forth, who gets helped? Nobody. So you know what happens? The anger doesn't stop. What happens is the anger goes one place. Either it starts going out to other people and becomes resentment, which builds. And that resentment may be expressed or not expressed. Usually resentment is expressed non-verbally to other people. And some people do it by taking their resentment and they express it by what they call confrontation. And they actually feel good about it. They say, I'm not one of those people who keeps it inside. I confront people, little bastards. That'll really build a quality communication, won't it? I confront, I don't keep it inside. I'll tell you what's wrong. Yesterday when you did this and this, made me feel this way. I request in the future you change. Everybody try this. You know what? That doesn't work. It can work. Anything can work. The tone of voice you use is going to play a bigger role than what you say. How many would agree? Your facial expression is going to play a bigger role than what you say. How many agree? And somebody else can sit there and listen to you and say, yes, I'll abide by your request, but inside they're going, okay, that's not communication. That's not quality communication. We want to change and enhance our format. The other thing we can do is when we feel anger, instead of resenting and confronting, we can just keep it inside. If we keep it inside, usually what it becomes is depression. People are depressed, they don't even know why. The reason people are depressed, they feel like they're not in control. Like things are happening they're not in control of. They're not able to communicate and get control of their life. And a lot of times depression is directly related to the fact they've kept this anger inside and these upsets, and they haven't expressed them, they become depressed. How many can relate to this? Not in you, but other people you've seen in your life. I thought so. So the bottom line is, what we've got to do when somebody responds to us with a cry for help is give them what kind of response? Which of the two responses should we give somebody when they give us a cry for help? A loving response. Is that always easy to do? No. What it requires is you to remember that no matter what it looks like, they're just really crying for help. Somebody's angry. How dare you do this to me? You go, how dare you do this to me? You guys are crying at each other. How dare you do this to me? You should go, you should picture that. How dare you do this to me? You son of a... Why do you always... And you come back and go, I hear you. I appreciate you. I love you. That's not my intent. How can we make this work? I'm willing to make it work. Thanks for sharing your real feelings with me. Let's do it. What do we need to do to make it work? How can we make you feel better? Because I'm committed to that. Well, you're there. I know. How can I make you feel better? How can I make you feel better? How can can I make you feel better because I love you? How can I make you feel better? I'm willing to do it. What is it going to take? How can I feel better? What will it take? Let's do it right now. Get the idea? You don't want to respond to a cry for help by crying yourself. You want to be bigger. And the way you get bigger is you remember this. You remember it, you use it, you make it work. Okay? This will change your life. That one belief, if you also execute it. And you know what you're going to learn today? You're going to learn some skills today that are so easy and so simple that all you got to do is commit to making them a habit so you don't have to think about it anymore. Your life will change forever. Your personal life, the way you communicate to yourself, your practice, your team, and most of you are already so bonded, you're incredible. But is there always a deeper level that we could pursue, yes or no? There's always a deeper connection. And if it's possible, should we pursue it? Yeah, why not have more ecstasy? Why not be closer? Why not be more loving? Why not be more connected? Why not do more? Why not create more? Why not make it happen? Why not? Why not us? Why not now? That's what we're going to do this day. So get the feeling for what it is. It all comes down to meaning. We change the meaning, we change it all. I'll give you an example too. When I was on my first book tour, this woman calls me up on the phone, right, on the radio, and I love doing the radio responses. I love like real fast me, I'll help people. So this woman calls up and she goes, Mr. Robbins, she goes, I've tried everything. I'm so upset. I'm depressed all the time. I've been depressed now for 7 years. I said, gosh, how have you accomplished that? She goes, what? I said, how have you accomplished that? I mean, that's pretty amazing. I said, are you depressed even when you sleep? She goes, when I sleep? What I'm doing is breaking her what? Remember? Pattern, interrupting her pattern. That's all you got to do. If you respond to people and go, oh man, I'm sorry you feel that way, and that's not enough. Sometimes you got to interrupt the pattern, tease them, and be loving, but tease them. Because if you just go, oh, it's okay, they're getting a lot of feedback. They're being rewarded for feeling bad. Is that true? So you got to be careful. You got to be loving, but you got to be fun and loving. So that would be my response. A loving, fun-loving response. An outrageously fun, loving response. That'll break their pattern. Do something they don't expect. So I said, well, what's the challenge? You go, well, it's because my boyfriend left me 7 years ago. He left me. He took my whole life. I said, he took your whole life? He goes, yeah, I gave him everything. I said, everything? You kept your voice, I hear. So, well, you know, he gave me everything. My whole life's run forever. Why is she in pain? That's right. She feels tremendous depression, actually, because she's been angry, because she really felt what? Hurt, because she has a sense of what? Are there people who end a relationship and don't feel a sense of loss? Yes or no? Yes, because you have to tell yourself it's a loss. You have to communicate it's a loss. How many found that in the past what you thought was a loss was actually your gain? But when you thought it was a loss, how did you feel? Hurt. And it may not have been a loss of them, it was a loss of your own self-esteem. Well, they left me, and they must not have loved me. I wasn't good enough. You know, I'm not good enough. The loss of your own self-esteem, but you do that to yourself too. It's just not true. It's the meaning you made up in your head. We're making all this crap up in our head, and it's not true. You got to be careful about the meaning you label things. You got to take control of that process. So someone's going, well, he left me. That's why my whole life is over. The reason she's upset, the reason she's this angry, is not that she feels a loss, but she's labeled that loss. Because of that, my whole life is over. How would you feel if your whole life was over? A bit depressed? You better believe it. So I said, look. I said, bottom line is, I said, man, you got to change your state. The state you're in right now, you're going to keep thinking your life's over. You got to change your state. Because, yeah, well, I've tried. I said, what have you done? She goes, well, I've taken drugs. I said, well... You know, what else you know? I've seen my therapist for years now. I've been this. I said, you know, stop! I started yelling on the phone on the radio, right? I can imagine the face going, what, is he crazy? What's going on? I said, you listen to me right now. You want to change this? You do exactly what I say. When I say now, you put the phone down. And you run outside. And you just yell 2 words at the top of your lungs. Over and over again. Next! 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 As you think about your old boyfriend. At first she was like in a deep trance with no reaction, right? And all of a sudden I heard this chuckling. She's laughing hysterically. Right? Starts to laugh. I said, just yell next. Go out there and look around, see men, go next. As soon as she started laughing, I said, think about your old boyfriend. She starts laughing. Think of your old boyfriend. She's laughing. Think of your old boyfriend. Laughing. Think about your old boyfriend. Pretty soon when she thought of her old boyfriend, guess what she began to do? Laugh. Right? Now, am I belittling the relationship? No. But do you think if she laughs when she thinks about it, she'll be able to deal with it better than if she cries? You better believe it. See, our state affects a lot of the meaning we link to things. When we're stressed, or we can make out the worst situation out of virtually anything, can't we? See, you got to remember, you're the producer of this play. You're the one writing the script of this movie. Now, some of you, though, have like one style of writing called drama. Maybe you ought to try writing a comedy instead. It might be more enjoyable. Some of you have written a love story. My congratulations to you. Some of you have written an adventure story. Some of you have got one garbled story that doesn't seem to make any sense. Maybe it's time you cleaned up the script. Which doesn't mean go back and rewrite it all. It means tear up the old one. Do you have to like go back and rewrite the whole script in order to make it work? Yes or no? Now what you can do is set it aside and move on from here. What a concept. Decide, what do I want now? What happened to my past doesn't mean diddly. What matters is where I'm going. If you're trying to drive in the future using the rear view mirror as your guidance tool, you're going to crash. Plus, you know what? Your future is going to look like your past. Pretty scary. Maybe I'd just let go of the past, tear up that script. You don't have to keep playing that same play. Write a new one now. Don't tell me, yeah, but look at the script I've been using all my life. Who gives a shit? Put it in the circular file and write a new one. You know, be spontaneous. Maybe you want to write some of it along the way. Maybe you don't have to have the whole thing planned out, every detail, know exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. And then you won't be so upset when it doesn't go the way you wrote the first version of the script. Called your expectations in your head. Maybe then you'll go, well, this script is kind of a guideline. It isn't like my absolute must or I'm going to be peeved. Maybe that would help things a lot. See, the whole key is the quality of life is the quality of communication. Number one, with yourself. Because nothing has any meaning except the meaning you give it. And the meaning you give it is going to determine how you feel. How you feel is going to determine what you do, and what you do is going to shape your destiny. See, if I interpret this means this person doesn't love me, and now all of a sudden I'm going to feel lousy about it, and I'm going to do things either verbally or non-verbally to get back maybe. Or, at the very worst, I'll withhold my emotions because I don't want to be hurt again. And does that withholding make my relationship better, yes or no? No, and now all of a sudden we start to drift apart. And now I start doing things that will change my destiny and separate me from somebody I really love and somebody who really loves me, all because I made up a bunch of crap in my head. Nothing has any meaning except the meaning you give it, bottom line. And so if we want to change our lives, we really want to make things work, make sure I remember this, write it in your note. It's not the event, it's what we do with it that determines the quality of your life. It's not the event, it's what you do with it that determines the quality of your life. And what we do with it is what we do with it inside of our head. It's not the event. It's what we do with the event that determines the quality of our life. What do we do with it inside of our head? We can take things that destroy other people and cause them to make us better. This whole seminar today you're going to go through is a result of me having an event that was not pleasurable last night. Especially since I was exhausted, I had no sleep. That also amplified my feelings about the situation. And then what happened was I asked myself a question. How can I use this? What's great about this? I was not feeling it was great. How can I use this? What's great about this? My brain started saying what's great about this is it means what we tried to do before this wasn't making sense. We almost had it, but it wasn't quite there. So what's great about this, I found that out because I want to share with you the best. What's great about it is I can use this intense emotion to see what really will work in the most intense feelings I've got. Wow, what a great deal. See, it's not the event, it's what you do with it. And remember, the meaning you associate or assign to something, the meaning you associate, put in parentheses, or assign to something, determines how you feel and what you do. So the meaning you associate or that you assign to something determines how you feel and what you do throughout your life. Determines how you feel and what you do throughout your life. Bless you. The problem is, are you communicating to yourself in a way that's empowering or disempowering? And what would you say a good deal of time it is, probably, if you're not totally happy? Disempowering. So the problem is not the event. The problem is the meaning that you're associating to things that's affecting your actions throughout your whole life, determining your destiny, is probably disempowering a good deal of the time. If you're not happy. If you're happy, you're probably assigning a lot of empowering meanings, aren't you? You've come up with some core beliefs and ways of looking at the world that really help you. Help you to evaluate things in a way where you're really in charge, or you're not in reaction. So if we want to really take control, then we got to remember what I've already said. Nothing in life has any meaning except the meaning that we give it. So for example, the doctor raises his voice, says, "Please give me this." Well, maybe he doesn't say please, he says, "Get me this." He doesn't say the word please. What does that mean? Scumbag doctor, that's what it means. It means he doesn't respect you, right? It means he doesn't care about you, right? Isn't that what it means? If you're upset, that's what the meaning you've attached to it is. How many would agree? What else could it mean? He's angry. If he's angry, or he's stressed, or he's frustrated, does that give him a right to snap at you, yes or no? No way. We're not making him right. We just want to know what it really means first. Does that make sense? How many of you have ever screwed up? Can I see a show of hands? How many of you have ever snapped at somebody and had nothing to do with them? It was just your state. You were so stressed about something else. How many have done this even with people you totally love, like your children? Everybody together, ready? I'll try it again. Very nice. Just think about that. Now, when the doctor does that, instead of going, "He has no right to do that," you're right, he has no right to do it. You're absolutely right. And you need to help him so he doesn't do that anymore. You need to help him, not make him wrong. If you make him wrong, is that going to enroll him in not doing this again, yes or no? Doctor, when all of a sudden you keep asking your staff and they don't deliver something you need, does that mean they're incompetent? Mean they don't care? Mean they're not as committed as you? You're working to the bone, you don't have any time? You're not even getting paid, they're getting paid, they must not care about you. Is that what it means? No. What might it mean? They're overloaded, they're overworked. You beat them to a pulp. They don't want to talk to you because you've been real mean and hard to be around. They're trying to avoid you and stay out of your way because they're afraid they're going to set you off. Oh. I noticed that was a doctor that was laughing. Huh, ma'am? Is that possible? But see, which meaning you assign will determine how you feel and how you treat people. Isn't that true? And it doesn't just stop there. It continues. Because the truth is, most of you don't communicate all that you feel, and it's a good thing. Because words spoken in a moment of anger, some words like that are never forgotten. Now, that's not true. You can forget them, but people think, "I'll never forget that." They keep telling them, "I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. I'll never, never. I will not forget that." And they work real hard to remember it. But how many of you have forgotten your own home telephone number, address, or how to spell the word "the"? So you can forget, can't you? Yes. Actually, forgetting is a very useful tool. I may want to teach you before the weekend's up the power of forgetting. Not forgiving, forgetting. Ready? Is it sometimes useful to forget? Especially if what you're forgetting is only your perception. Especially since your memories are nothing but myths anyway. Because if you ask my mother, I bet she'd have a different story. True? That's right. See, the bottom line in life then is we've got to make sure that we assign a meaning that empowers and doesn't disempower. By the way, we don't really know for sure what the meaning is unless we ask. By the way, do we always have to ask? No. Sometimes we can hallucinate that people are coming from the best place. How often would it be useful to hallucinate that people are really coming from positive intention? Yes. See, if you question my behavior, I can probably deal with that. But if you question my intention, that is going to really hurt me. Because I'm going to go, don't we have a relationship? Don't you know who I am? But that's probably not how I'm going to respond. I'll probably respond with a cry for help by being pissed off that you could ever question my integrity or my intent or whether I care about you. I mean, how can you do that after all I've done for you? And then people start justifying and noticing all the things they've done for you. Then they get really even more mad, amped out. Is that true? Okay. So what we've got to really do is we've got to say, okay, I don't know what the meaning is. I'm not sure what the meaning is. But I'm sure that the intent is positive. The person's either stressed or something else, but I know who they are. I remember who this person really is. The moment doesn't matter. This too shall pass. Is that true? Unless I decide to try and hang on to it, not let it pass. Have you ever tried not to let something pass? It gets to be painful after a few days. You come home. You caught that one, huh? That's good. That's right. You come home and your spouse is watching TV again. They're reading the newspaper again. They didn't say they loved you again. What does that mean? Scumbag, that's what it means. Divorce. They don't care. They don't love me. They're not attracted to me anymore. Can't imagine why they wouldn't be attracted to you when you're in this personality. Probably looks at other men, looks at other women. Can't imagine why when they get to come home to seeing you in this unique state. Because they don't have very good taste, that's why. They don't know what they've got. Maybe they know what they've got. Maybe that's why they're looking. The meaning we link to things determines our actions, therefore our destiny. I've already shared that with you. The key then is to choose empowering versus disempowering meanings. The key for us from now on is when something happens, we're going to probably have a reaction, and after we're done with our little reaction, we should sit back and say, what's a more empowering way of looking at this? What might be a more empowering way of looking at this? What else could this mean? Because I choose the empowering one. I may be wrong. Is it possible the person really is a scumbag? I guess anything's possible. But it probably won't empower you to look at them that way. Because people tend to be whatever you make them. You might want to write that down. People tend to be whatever you make them. Pretty important frame. And I want you to remember this. Write this in your notes. Whatever you look for, you will find. Whatever you look for, you will find. Whatever you look for, you're going to get. And by the way we look for things is we ask questions about people, about our life, about ourselves. That's how you look for things. The way you direct what you focus on is ask a question. Very quickly, look around this room as fast as you can. I want you to notice everything in this room that's brown. Quick, everything that's brown, brown. Clothing, people's hair, floors, anything brown, brown, brown. Only brown, 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 brown. Close your eyes. With your eyes closed now, tell me everything in this room that's red. Raise your hand if you see a lot more brown in your head than you see red. Raise your hand. Open your eyes. Look for red now. See everything you see in this room that's red. Red, red, red. Anywhere you can see it. Clothing, people. Anywhere you see red, 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 red. Look around. Red, red, red. How many see a lot more red now? Raise your hand. Guess what? You get what you look for. And I got you look for it by asking a question. That's also how you get yourself to look for things, by asking a question. Like, what's wrong with this person? And you know what? If you look, you'll find what's wrong. There's wrong. Look, there's what's wrong with them. Why are they such a scumbag? You say, okay, why? All right, here's one reason, here's another, here's another. How come I can never succeed? Well, let's see here. You look inside, you say, oh yeah, these suspenders aren't the right level, yeah, this here, yeah, my childhood, I got all the reasons. We get what we look for. Can you find somebody who's horrible, and could you find something good in them if you look for it? Yes or no? Yeah, because you're the one that determines whether it's good or not anyway. Isn't that true? Could you find something good in Saddam Hussein if you wanted to? I'm not saying we should. Right? If you wanted to, could you? Do certain people think he's good? Yeah. People say, hey, he's gotten back our land. I don't necessarily agree. But you don't have to agree to be able to appreciate. Is there a difference? Yeah. You can appreciate somebody's view even if you don't agree with it. You can appreciate that for them that's true. You can appreciate that they have a different reality than you have about something. Most of us think we all have to share the same perceived reality. I'm sure we share the same physical reality, but physical reality is not what most of us experience. We experience a perceived reality we've made up in our head. Isn't that true? And so do you remember what the title of this technology is? Bridging realities. What we're going to want to do is build a bridge between our reality and somebody else's so that we can connect and have a relationship. We don't have to make them live in our reality. We don't have to hold our reality as their absolute. We can create a bridge. And by having that bridge, we can exchange information between our two cities, our two communities of emotion, our two communities of understanding. We have to create a connection. We're no longer separate. We're connected. And we can share. We can have our own identity and feeling. We can also connect and share. There's no limit. We can do it at any moment. All we have to do is choose to cross the bridge. That's all we got to do. Bridge the reality. We're going to show you how to do that with people for the rest of your life. It'll change your life like a few things you've ever learned in your life. It'll be so simple, it'll be a joke. But it starts with this basic philosophical understanding that the way you feel is based on the meaning you give things. You're the one giving the meaning no matter what, even though it feels like somebody else. And the question is, are you doing an empowering meaning or a disempowering meaning? And if you say, yeah, but look, I got proof. I got proof that what I'm saying is true. Do you want to be in right, or do you want to be in a relationship? Do you want to be right, or do you want to be in love? Now, write that down. Ask yourself, this is the question of the future. Next time you're in an argument, ask yourself, do you want to be right, or do you want to be in love? Because that's really your choice. That's really it. See, I think I told you last time I was here, I had a time a few years back where I had a unique partner who I really cared a lot about. He embezzled $250,000 and had me $758,000 in debt. I got a bit peeved by this. I got angrier than I ever remember because I felt so massively what? Hurt. And it's because I had a feeling of what? Loss. The money was part of it. The ability to not have to think about money was another part of it. An equally big part of it was I cared about this person. And they took advantage of me. I felt the loss of trust, the loss of love, loss of connection. All that got stacked into this anger. How many would hear that? See, the truth of the matter is, do I have every right to be able to point and show that this guy is wrong? Sure. Will that make my life better? No. What I got to do is say, how can I use this and move on? Not make him right, not make him wrong. Just go, okay. God, I wonder what would make a person do that. You know, when I finally started asking what would make a person do that, I created my entire Destiny Technologies. It probably is the most powerful set of distinctions I've made in my lifetime. Because I figured out how I could use it and what I could learn from it, instead of how come this happened to me. And I turned my finances around like 100-fold. My little company doing $4 million a year to $50 million a year. It's a fairly large jump. All because I chose to create a different meaning. The meaning is, this is a chance for me to go to the next level. The meaning is, this is a chance for me to learn and make something better than it's ever been before. Once you link that meaning, the world changes. Just remember, if you don't like the way you feel, change what things mean. Change your perception of what something means, or change your actions. That's what it takes, and you'll change the way you feel in a heartbeat. I put a little metaphor here, a couple of them for you. I just want to remind you that when you decide you can't find something also, remember I said what you look for, you'll find? When you decide you can't find something, you'll also discover you won't find it. Because whether you believe something is true, whether you believe it's not, you're right. How many have had the experience of having somebody say to you something like, can you find me the salt? And you think to yourself, hey, would you go in the cabins and get me the salt? And as you walk in there, you're thinking, I don't know what the salt is. And you walk up there, you open up, I don't know what it is. And you really do look, don't you? You really look. But you already have this belief that says, I can't find the salt. So what happens? A few minutes later you go, it's not in here. They go, what are you talking about? It's right there on the shelf. You go, no, it's not. They walk in, they walk right beside you, reach right in front of your face and go, what is this? And what is it? How many have had this happen to you? Now, the salt wall's already there. You said, Tony, what I look for, I'll find. Yes, what you look for in earnest, you'll find. See, what you really want the answer to, you'll get. But you go, why am I so happy? But you really don't want to know the answer, you're not going to get the answer. Or what's really great about this person? You won't get an answer. It's only what you seek for in earnest. If you don't look for something, you won't find it. You're right. If you don't commit yourself to finding it, you won't. Good thing for you to remember. What do you do when an upset happens? Well, let me give you an example of what I learned from racing school. It changed my whole life. I race cars, formula cars. And so I went to several different schools, by the way, to do this. And I'll never forget, in my first school, the first thing they really taught us at this one school for racing is they said the first thing you got to do is you got to know how to recover. You got to know how to recover before anything else. How to drive a car, you guys know how to do. How to go forward, you know how to do that. What you got to do is learn how to recover when you hit the skids in the road. Because if you don't know how to do that, your racing career is going to be rather short or rather painful. And most of you are trying to race through life. And a lot of you are having a rather painful time because you don't recover very well. Or you recover, but in the process of recovering, you smash in everybody else's car along the way. And that makes the next trip around a little resentful for the people. They see you coming by, they kind of avoid you a little bit, going, I'm not getting too close to this doctor, this staff member, this person, this accountant, this secretary, this telephone person, the person around the calendar. I'm not doing that. Because if I do, they're going to smash me up too in the process of them trying to recover. So what they do is they put you in a skid car where they make you go through the process of about to crash, where they knock you off track. And what it is the skid car, they got a little computer. They fire off this computer, and what it does, it has a little lift, and it lifts one of your wheels, and you never know which direction it'll in. So you're screaming around the track, screaming, and you're not doing full speed, like 140 miles an hour. They start you a little slower, like we're doing this morning. You go about 60, 70 miles an hour. But 60, 70 miles an hour on a track is pretty intense, and you're going right for a wall, and all of a sudden, you start to skid out of control. And what they tell you in advance is that what you got to do is when you start to skid out of control, there's only one key. Look where you want to go. Focus on where you want to go. Do not focus on what you're afraid of. Now, what do people do in life? We focus on what we fear, and we get more of whatever we focus on. That's what they tell you there. They say, look, whatever you focus on, that's where you're going to go. Whatever you focus on, you're going to get more of. You focus on the wall, you're going to get a lot of wall. Real fast, you're going to crash. What you immediately got to do is focus on what you want, not where you think you're going, not where you think you are. If you're not where you want to be, if you're not where you're wanting to go, focus on where you want to go. Immediately, don't hesitate. They said, now what you're going to have to do is when you do this, it won't feel like it's working at first because you'll still feel like you're going into the wall. Because what happens, you have so much momentum in that direction that even when you focus on where you want to go, there'll still be a little bit of momentum in that direction, and there'll be a little bit of a lag time before the car turns. So don't, because you don't seem to be turning, turn back and look, because you do, you're going to go right there and crash. Keep there. You have to use that F word. What is it? Faith. So what happens is you turn, you're going in, and what does most people do? First of all, most people don't even turn. What do I do the first time? I'm screaming along, all of a sudden I start going to control, and go, ah! I'm looking right at the wall. My instructor last minute saves my life by grabbing my head and going, and pulling my head physically in the direction I should be looking, which is directly 90 degrees opposite of where I was going, right? I'm heading for the wall. That's where I need to look. So we're all about to crash, and he goes like this, and I'm pulling my head over here, and all of a sudden I'm going, oh, and I want to look back, oh, when are we going to, ah? And the last second it turned away. And I went, oh my God, my heart's beating out of me. I said, maybe I should try a different sport. I thought, now this is a good metaphor for life, so let me do it again. So I go out there, and you never know when they're going to do it. You're going. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to love racing again, racing. All of a sudden, I started to go, and you know what I did? I pulled my head. I'm like pulling my head in this direction because I keep wanting to go this way and look at what it is, pulling. And I'm waiting, and sure enough, the car turns just in time. And after a while, you know what you do? Something happens, you notice what it is. You don't stare at what it is. You don't figure out what it is. You don't go, that's a wall. Smacking that. What will it be like to smack that? Ooh, if I smack that, my body will go here, my head will go there. No, what happens is, you see the wall, you know what it is, you only acknowledge the problem long enough to know what it is, and then move on. Know what it is, focus on where I want to go. The minute I can identify what it is, and that's not where I want to go, so I'm heading for it, in the car, and it's like, now you just, you get off it so fast. Focus on what you want, and you'll get more of it. Focus on what you fear, and you'll get more of that. Focus on what you want, and you'll get more of it. Focus on what you fear, and you'll get more of that. Bottom line is, almost everybody in life focuses on what they fear, and that's why they get more of what they don't want. Right? Oh yeah, but what if this happens? What if that happens? If you keep asking, what if this happens, what if that happens, I guarantee you're going to crash. It's only a matter of time. Instead, you got to say, well, what if this happens? What I want. What will happen when I make this happen? What I want. And the more you focus on that, the more of an experience you'll have of what it is that you want in your life, and you'll get it right away. Now, here's the problem. You got to still hang on to your F. What is it? Faith. You know what faith is? Faith is understanding the seasons of life. Life comes in seasons, doesn't it? It's not always the same, but it's still predictable as a whole. How many of you are surprised when winter comes? Can I see some hands? No, you wouldn't be surprised. You wouldn't be surprised when winter comes. And are there emotional winters, yes or no? You better believe there are. Are there times when you try to communicate well and it doesn't work? Are there times in the office where it feels a little frigid, a little cold? And that's not just the air conditioning. What happens during a winter? You break out a fire and warm each other up. See, some people freeze to death in the winter. Other people ski. The meaning of winter is whatever you do with it. Isn't that true? There's nothing wrong with winter. What if it was always summer? You go, that'd be great. Oh yeah? I think you get bored with summer. Plus you probably get burned. Now some people get burned in the summer. Some people get tan. Some people swim. Some people go on vacation. Springtime's a great time too. You get to plant. Fall, you get to reap. You know what happens to some people in life? What some people do is they say, okay, I'm doing what you said, Robbins, I turn, I focus, but it's not working. You're still in lag time. God's delays are not God's denials. God's delays are not God's denials. You're in lag time. It'll catch up. Hey, look, you think it's fall, we're still in winter. Or you think it's fall and you're in spring, or you've made it to summer, but we're not to fall yet. Don't be so darn impatient. Take on a new prayer. Lord, give me patience and give it to me right now. Be equally intelligent. It's like some people think, okay, I know what I want. I want this seed to be a plant. They stick it in the soil. Then they come back the next day and they go, where's my plant? And the soil goes, are you new? That's not how it works. You plant it here, okay? You come back every day and take care of it, right? You make it through the whole spring. Then during summer when it's hot, you got to really, really take care of it because it gets even worse during that time. And you make it through all those seasons. In the fall, maybe, more than likely, not always, but most of the time, you will have a plant here. That's how it works. You go, that's not fair. Best of life is how it is, not how you think it should be. Because if you come back each day, the plant will see you come and start laughing, you know, giggling. Look at this guy. What's the matter with him? Why don't I have it yet? Lag time, that's why. Don't make yourself wrong because you're doing the right things and you don't see the results yet. It takes time. Most people completely overestimate what can be done in a year and underestimate what can be done in a decade. I can tell you my own career, my own life, my business life, I gave my heart and soul every day, 276 seminars a year. Going morning, noon, and night, giving my all. Anybody knows me will tell you, all my all, every day, no matter what. And you know what? I was broke. I was frustrated outside in terms of the business. Nothing was working. And I kept, asking myself a great question, like, why am I screwing this up so much? It wasn't me screwing up. It's lag time. I had to make distinctions. I had to build something. It takes time. But then the other day, I got a little reality check, which we're going to teach you today. My reality check is I'm flying up to Los Angeles to do my seminar up there in my helicopter, my jet helicopter. It's a tough life, but somebody has to live it. So I don't have to drive for 3 hours. I jump in my helicopter. I'm there in 35 minutes. And plus, I go down and dive down by the dolphins in the water and lift back up and play. It's like having your own roller coaster. And I'm flying over this area where I used to work in Glendale, California. I worked there as a janitor. I drove my 1960 Volkswagen that literally broke down on the freeway one day because the wheel fell off. I worked in the middle of the night so I could still go to school, and I got paid $5 an hour, but as a janitor, they figured out how many hours it should take, so I did half the time, did a better job. Because I learned if you give more value, you get to earn more. Good thing for me to remember. But all of a sudden, I flew over the bank, and I stopped. Because in a helicopter, you can stop. Like in elevators, boom, right there. And I just hovered above where I used to work. And I thought, that was 12 years ago. Wow. Wow. I never, for 4 or 5 years after that, I never thought I could have ever had what I wanted. But see, the world moves for those who just never give up. The world will move for those who persist forever and who change their approach. They're flexible in how they do it. They don't just do the same thing over and over again. The world will move for someone who has faith. The world moves for somebody who has trust and then acts on that trust. That's what the world moves for. And someday you get to look down and go, God, I was there one time? That's pretty exciting. That's pretty good progress. See, just because you didn't get it when you want it, you may have overestimated in the short term and underestimated your long-term power and potential. Something you might want to remember.